Welcome back, Ram fans. I hope you're enjoying this week. The Rams crushed the 49ers. Is that too strong a word? Maybe. But regardless, the Rams take care of the 49ers in convincing fashion, 42-26. And Rams are in a really good spot now. This is my Rams Up rehash. I have some final thoughts on that game, and including some additional notes as well. Before we move on, one bit of news to share. A couple of days ago, actually, Jake McQuaid signed to the Rams 53-man roster, and Alex Ward waived. Quite the bummer for Alex Ward. I didn't see this coming. If he had asked me a couple of months ago, there was no red flags regarding Alex Ward, but things deteriorated, and I'm not sure how a guy goes from being a solid long snapper for 2 seasons essentially, and then all of a sudden he kind of isn't good anymore. But it happened, and Jake McQuaid comes back to the Rams. This is a guy that beat out Chris Massey as a Rams long snapper back in 2011. Yeah, St. Louis. Played 160 games for the Rams over 10 seasons, 2 Pro Bowl appearances. So, he knows what he's doing. And since then, he's had moments with the Cowboys, Lions, Bears, Vikings, Dolphins, Steelers, in some cases not on the 53, but got into some games with some other teams. And now he's back to the Rams, and Alex Ward off that 53-man roster. And I think what's going to happen here apparently is they're going to keep Harrison Mevis, the new kicker, on the practice squad, elevate him another game, deactivate Joshua Carty. That's what's going to happen in the Seattle game, apparently. Eventually, they're going to have to make a decision now. I think they're trying to rehab Carty mentally and operationally, I guess. They still have hopes that he will earn this kicking job back, but you can only elevate a guy from the practice squad so many times before you have to put him on the 53 permanently. That's a couple games out, though. But for now, it is Harold Mevis and Jake McQuaid with Ethan Evans, the holder, and Joshua Carty waiting in the wings to find out what his future looks like with the Rams and the NFL. And speaking of the practice squad, the Rams have signed tight end Nick Muse to the practice. And by the way, the Rams have signed tight end Nick Muse to the practice squad. He was originally drafted by the Vikings, bounced around a little bit. He joins tight end Mark Redman, 2 tight ends on the practice squad now. That is fills the spot vacated by promoting Jake McQuaid to the active roster. So we'll get into the tight ends and their usage a little bit later. We'll talk about a lot on the keys to victory. A lot of interesting data coming out about the Rams and their 13 personnel. But it makes sense that if they are really serious moving forward of rolling with 13 personnel more and more often, and 12 personnel for that matter, they need to bulk up the tight end group on the practice squad. It makes perfect sense. So, the Rams obviously deploying this 13 personnel. Sharing some information here on the YouTube channel. I'll read it for you, those listening audio only on the podcast. The Rams deployed 13 personnel on 30 of 67 offensive plays against the 49ers. That's just under half the snaps, the second highest rate in a game since 2016, and their third straight game over 38%. They averaged 6.7 yards per play out of that formation, 63.3% success, and 20% explosive play rate out of 13. All 3 game highs. And one of the things at play here is if you go to 12 personnel, 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers, you got Devontae and Puka and 2 tight ends. But if you want to go, get one of them off the field, do you want to bring in a third tight end or that number 3 wide receiver? And I think McVay has finally decided that having those 3 tight ends is better than having, let's say, a Whittington or a Mumpfield out there. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, there are other reasons, but if you want to put your 4 best pass catchers out there and one of them is not Devontae or Puka, you're going to have those 3 tight ends out there. That's what I'm thinking. Let's get into some other game notes. 49ers 1 for 3 on fourth down. Rams continue to improve in that area. Stats-wise, Landman, Spates, and Lake all had 11 combined tackles. And penalties, 49ers, 7 penalties for 45 yards. The Rams, no penalties, no accepted penalties. They had one that was offsetting, so it didn't count. And I was listening to a 49er content creator, just curious how they responded to this game. And he felt very strongly that the refs had a really bad day. Just didn't understand this discrepancy, shall we say, in the penalties. But sometimes it's just because one team is more disciplined than the other. But it is kind of odd to have 0 accepted penalties. And I know this has happened to the Rams a few times, where Rams getting where it's flipped, where the other teams has 0 penalties and the Rams have 5, 6, 7, 8. And it does, it is kind of odd, but I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go conspiracy theory here. And back to the tight ends. Interesting stat here. Tight ends against the 49ers, 10 catches, 114 yards, and 2 TDs. Last week, the previous week against the Saints, almost identical, 10 catches for 114 yards and 1 TD. Is there a pattern here? Yes, I think so. And by the way, Blake Corum's stats in the 2 games were almost identical as well. Some more notes here. Over the last 2 games, 4 pass plays of over 30 yards for the Rams. So they're getting those explosive plays in. And worth noting, 2 of them were to Terrence Ferguson, 1 to Puka, and 1 to Devontae. So Ferguson really stretching the field a little bit. And let's look at the rookie tight ends this season. There were 6 taken in the first 3 rounds. Ending this presentation here on the YouTube channel with Harold Fanning. There may have been another one in the 3rd round after him. But these top 6 guys taken, Colston Loveland, 21 catches for 289 yards and 2 TDs, a 13.8 average. Tyler Warren having a really good year, 50 catches for 617 yards and 3 TDs. Mason Taylor with the Jets, 30 catches, 246 yards and 1 TD, just 8.2 yards per catch though. Terrence Ferguson was the 4th tight end selected, only 5 catches for 138 yards and 1 TD. Elijah Arroyo, we'll see him next week, the Seahawks tight end, rookie tight end, 14 catches for 174 yards and 1 TD. And Harold Fanning Jr., he was the guy I loved coming out last year in the draft. 42 catches, 396 yards and 2 TDs, a 9.4 average. But the one stat, if there's one stat that stands out, yards per catch, Terrence Ferguson, 27.6. Yeah, you heard that right. A 27.6 average on his 5 catches. That's pretty incredible. And that's something that other teams are going to have to start paying attention to for sure. I went back and reviewed this game, all the possessions, and I came up with my fearsome 4 big plays in this game. And the first one was Forbes breaking up that pass on the 49ers' first possession, kind of set the tone. The Rams had already scored. You get a 3 and out. I know Juwan Jennings thought he got there a little bit early. Maybe that's what the 49er content creator was referring to. Could have been a call there. But big play, kept the momentum in the Rams' favor. And then the peanut punch on the 49ers' second possession. Our man Nate Landman once again causing the turnover. And then Byron Young's 4th down stop on Christian McCaffrey. Again, that between that breakup on the 49ers' first possession and the peanut punch, a turnover on their second possession, and then BY's 4th down stop, man, those 3 were clearly, just denying the 49ers opportunities to score there. And they ended up scoring 26 points. So all 3 of those were really big plays. And then lastly, the 4th down conversion, the 49ers had closed to within 7, and the Rams are facing a 4th and 3, a 4th down conversion, Stafford to Puka. Man, what a big relief that was when that play happened. Now, I want to remind you we are partnering up with MyBookie. Go to mybookie.website/join with Rams Up. Use promo code Rams up to $50 in bets fully covered. I did okay last week. The 3 bets I shared, I got 2 out of 3 Falcons plus 6.5 over the Colts. The Eagles plus 2.5 over the Packers, and then my money line with the Vikings did not work out. So I finished 1 up, and then I had that parlay. I think I hit that parlay I shared at the last minute, the Sunday afternoon parlay. So quite the deal. Mybookie.website/join with Rams Up. Use that promo code up to $500 fully covered. Quite the deal. Got some PFF grades, Pro Football Focus grades for you. The top 5 Rams: Kevin Dotson, Colby Parkinson, kind of kicking some butt out there. Matthew Stafford, how can that 87.6? That's pretty interesting. How could it not be 100 if that's the highest score? I don't even know. Coleman Shelton and Steve Avila also having good days. And my special assistant shared a video for me. I might have been on that 4th down play to Puka. One of the little drop-off passes to Puka there, bubble screen or just a short, quick pass to him. I'm not sure which play it was. I just saw a snippet of it. And Avila took out 3 49ers, cleaned out 2. One of them spilled over into the 3rd 49er. So it was pretty good, pretty nice play by Steve Avila. And so he graded out very well. On the defensive side, hey, Jalen McCullough was my player to watch, and he was the highest rated defensive player. Limited number of snaps, but still he played well. Quentin Lake, Tyler Davis, Byron Young, and Cam Kinchins were the other ones that scored pretty high. Not the best day overall for the defense, in my opinion, but Emmanuel Forbes graded poorly in this game, but I felt like he had a couple of really big plays, so I was surprised to see that. Maybe overall in a game you don't grade out that well, but maybe they should adjust it when you make really big plays that change the course of the game potentially. I'm not sure how they score it, but Emmanuel Forbes, the late interception was a really nice play. Game was sort of kind of over, but it was still a bit of a relief to get the ball back there at the end, and we could all just relax for the rest of the game. Emmanuel Forbes Jr., low score, but had some big plays. So this is what's keeping me up at night the next 5 weeks. So the Seattle is 7-2, as are the Rams. 49ers at 6-4, so they got a bye coming up. Seattle over the next 5 weeks, they get the Rams, of course. Then they travel to Tennessee, come home to play the Vikings, and then at Atlanta, and then the Colts at home. So I could see them winning 3, if not 4 of these games, potentially. The Rams at 7-2, a little bit tougher road. They get the Seahawks and the Bucks at home. Then they travel to Carolina and then Arizona and then home to play the Lions. So Seahawks, Bucks, and Lions, 3 really tough games. Or hopefully the Rams can get 3 or 4 wins here. I know a lot of you are saying, what are you talking about? They're going to win all 5 the way they're playing, and that very well could be. But being a little bit of a worrywart here, that's the point of this discussion right now. The 49ers at 6-4, they're not going away. Their next 4 games over the next 5 weeks: at Arizona, home to play the Panthers, at Cleveland, then they get their bye, and then home to play the Titans. They could very easily win all 4 of those games. So they're not going away. The schedule really favors them, especially over the next 5 weeks. This NFC West is going to be quite the story over these as when they finally do get into the stretch run. All 3 of these teams will have a shot at a divisional title. The one game that I think 49ers could get bit by, the Browns play really good defense. And, if it's a cold day there in Cleveland, maybe the Browns pull off the win there. And the Panthers, so up and down, I don't know what to make of them. So, last thing I have here, this is a preliminary power rankings I'm sharing, and it's this year more than any other. It's so difficult to rank these teams. I see the Rams ranked number one here and there. I see the Broncos ranked one and number two in different polls, and I'm just not feeling it for the Broncos. You beat the Raiders. You beat the Raiders at home by 3 points, was it? You're not my number two ranked team, and I have them at number eight. But how do I have them ranked right now? The Colts at number one, followed by the Rams and Seahawks at two and three, the Lions, Chiefs, and Eagles at four, five, and six. The Patriots, and maybe I'm not giving them enough credit quite yet. They're at seven. Then those Broncos at eight, Chargers at nine, Packers at 10, Bucks at 11, and Ravens at 12. Yes, the Ravens at 12. Some people not giving them love yet. Based on their record, I get it, but I'm going the other way. I think they are finally getting on track here. And I don't know what to do with the Bears, 49ers, and Bills. The Bears winning some thrillers. Are they a true playoff threat? I'm not so sure. The 49ers, when they get healthy, maybe they'll pop back here into the top 12. And the Bills, I don't know what to make of them. I had them ranked number one, and now I don't even have them in the top 12. And maybe they should be, but I may rework this later in the week. That's what I got right now. My power rankings 1 through 12, and three teams in the green room: the Bears, 49ers, and Bills. So that is my Rams up rehash, a final thought on this Rams 49ers game, and some additional notes. We'll be back with we'll have a couple of drops between now and the Seahawks game and try to get a pregame pulse out as well. Our keys to victory with Ian, our Saturday morning roundtable, all that good stuff out here from Rams Up.